Welcome to the Prestige TV podcast. I am Rob Mahoney. I am here today to talk about Nobody Wants This Season 2. It's a big day. It's a big show. I brought in the only person I can trust to talk about this with me. She is, like Joanne, a professional podcaster. She is, like Noah, a spiritual leader. It's Yasi Salek. Yasi, thank you so much for being here.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me. Am I here because nobody else wanted to talk about it? Because literally nobody wants this.
Absolutely not. This is a coveted spot.
Okay.
You had to elbow several people out of the way.
Love it.
As I said, this is a hit show. This is a monster production for Netflix. And so people are watching, people are talking about it. Thus, we must do the same.
Can't wait. I have a lot of thought.
I can't wait to hear them. I mean, I would hope if you are here listening to this podcast, you know what Nobody Wants This is in season 2. The continued adventures of Noah and Joanne, Hot Rabbi, and I would say Hot Mess, respectively. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening in this season. There are broadening of horizons. There are new characters introduced. But what was your introduction to the show, Yasi? How were you feeling coming into season 2? What was your background with this show?
I definitely watched the first season sort of like, I would assume how many people did, which is like with no context or background. Like I'm sure a lot of people came because it was popular, but like I just like threw it on. I have brain damage in terms of memory.
Don't we all?
Was it like around a holiday that it came out?
This is a great question. It feels, and maybe this is just me in the present tense, like a fall cozy core kind of show spiritually.
Yeah.
But I honestly couldn't tell you.
But I loved it. I was like, oh my God, my boyfriend Seth Cohen is finally back in my arms. So excited. I love Kristen Bell.
Yep.
So I really enjoyed the first season.
First season, like it's hard to write it off in a way. There was something undeniable about that chemistry, about how comforting it just feels to like lock in, which is odd when you consider the context in which it was made. The more you hear about it, it's like no one making the show seemed to have any idea what they were making, what the tone of it was going to be, whether all the pieces were going to work. And I think it works just because they work. Like that central relationship drives so much of season 1 and makes it like it felt so lived in right away.
Yeah, it's like a charisma factory also. It's like these people are just, you want to watch them, you want to hear them talk, you want to hear them crack jokes.
I mean, they're both so charming. I think season 1 especially like has a little bit of that like steaminess that, if I'm being honest, if we want to get ahead of ourselves, season 2 seems to be lacking, to be honest with you. But it is like a classic Netflix mess to success kind of story. They just ended up with this show that became a phenomenon, became one of the biggest shows, especially I would say comedies in Netflix history. I don't even know what would be competing if you want to consider like Emily in Paris a comedy. That's maybe in the same stratosphere. But other than that, like this is a big swinging hit. There was a no questions asked renewal. I'm sure we will continue to get more of this show. But let's kind of center in on season 2. Like how is it sitting with you? What was your experience like watching it? What was season 2 to you?
I'm like still processing.
Yeah. That seems maybe not great for a show that is supposed to be comfort food.
I really enjoyed it. Like it's impossible not to enjoy the taking in of this show. Like in the way that it's like, and this is not pejorative, but like junk food.
Yes.
Where like, I'm going to enjoy eating a family size bag of Doritos. Of course I am. But maybe afterwards, as I'm digesting, I might have a little bit of indigestion.
Yes.
I think I heard someone say like that some of the jokes are like, they don't further anything, right? They're just like jokes for joke's sake, which is great.
100%.
But then when you kind of step back, you're like, oh, okay. Because the conceit of the show is quite serious.
Yeah. Life-altering religious decisions. Like, where are we? What is this? Like, yes, the stakes are intimate in that we're talking about people making little decisions about their life, but they're big decisions within the scope of those lives. Yeah.
So I think, like, broadly speaking, I loved it because I love almost every member of this cast. Like, we already talked about Kristen Bell and Adam Brody. Jackie Tone.
I mean, front and center this season.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
Like, incredible. Everything about her. You can't take your eyes off her. She's so funny. The Bang storyline really hit. Wasn't she was like the young nanny, right? On The Nanny.
I didn't even
think
know
she was.
this.
Yeah. She's great. And I think I read somewhere that she's actually Kristen Bell's real life best friend, which is like how she came in.
This is that kind of show where it's like, obviously Adam Brody's real life wife, Leighton Meester, is on this show. There's a lot of like this person's girlfriend, this person's boyfriend, this person, they worked together on this movie or that show and they pulled them into this orbit. Like it does feel like a close-knit production in a way.
Which is why everyone's chemistry is so good.
On
Justine
point.
Loop is just
really
a
funny.
Star.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, she's so funny. Her character is amazing. With friend of the pod, Timothy Simons.
Yeah.
His dance.
Do you think he did his own choreo?
I wouldn't put it past him. He's a multi-talented guy.
He seems like he might have just shown up with it on the day. They're like, he's like, I got this. Came fully prepared
He's like,
to rock
Ariana. I was
Ariana.
saving this for, perhaps a wedding or some sort of event, a red carpet, but I will give it to you.
That is the shame. You can never bust that dance out again once you've done it on a Netflix show.
That's true. But I guess it's now held in amber for generations.
It really is. It's beautiful.
Come.
We can look at it. We can hold it in our hands for eternity.
Yeah. They did just incredible also guest star moments.
Yes.
My queen, Kate Brilliant.
I mean, she's so funny.
Obviously, Seth Rogen as the other rabbi.
Stephen Tobolowsky back.
Fantastic. Darcy Carden, a little underused, but
yeah,
love her.
I mean, might have a busy schedule, might booked and busy, I would hope. The universe can only hope.
Yeah. Sorry to really get into it from moment one.
That's what we're here to do. I'm
interested in a show that is talking about religion, but barely ever even brings up God. Is God mentioned in this show? I don't think so. I mean, listen, this is a dual screen show. I did watch it twice. But,
without a doubt.
So I don't have the dialogue memorized, but I think I would have perked up. Yes. If the word God was used. People are really afraid to use the word God, but I'm like, this is a literal show about...
This is the thing. I am mystified by the number of shows that exist today that want to talk about the thing, but don't actually want to talk about the thing. And, there is a deep and complicated conversation to have about the way that Judaism is talked about, deployed, especially from season 1 to season 2. I think there's some improvements in some ways, but it is a show that to me feels much more interested in what it means to be culturally Jewish, to engage in Jewish tradition than Jewish faith, to the point that if we want to jump very far ahead, the big finale kind of revelation moment has almost nothing to do with the faith itself. It's more like, oh, I like going to Shabbat.
Right. I like challah. I don't want to make any assumptions, Rob. You're not Jewish.
I'm not, no.
Listen, anybody could be Jewish.
It's absolutely fair.
My dad is Jewish. So, again, I'm a loosey goose over here.
Is your dad locked in on Nobody Wants This?
No, my dad has never seen 1 minute of Nobody Wants This. And my dad, again, is Jewish by birth and culture. And so that side of my family is very culturally Jewish. However, in the Jewish tradition, if your father is Jewish, you're not Jewish. So I'm a little bit canceled out. But so maybe I'm more familiar than you at the very least with some of the Jewish world and traditions. I guess as a person who is very interested in not religion per se, but faith and spirituality in modern day society, which has become pretty aggressively secular. Again, this is a neutral comment, but I was so excited. I was like, oh, there's a rich thing to work with here. And I guess I just wanted a little more
absolutely
of that. What does Hot Rabbi really believe?
We know that he believes he is too conservative for the Reform.
Right, for the loosey goose.
Yes, for the Reform temple he attempts to join. That's too far.
Yeah.
And the show wants to have its fun with that and poke and hey, isn't this kind of funny how exactly loose they are with their faith? But I think ultimately this is a problem that the show is encountering in multiple ways, which is they made season 1. They're obviously making this continuation in the consciousness of everything that seemed to work or not. And they want to lean so hard on the rom-com elements that I think it scares them away from anything that feels a little too real, a little too heavy. They want to make the comfort show so bad and continue spoon-feeding it to you that it's where is the room for the serious religious conversation?
Which is maybe fine. Maybe it's not supposed to have that. I guess it's just you're dancing with it.
Yes. Don't pretend that you're the other thing is kind of where I'm at. It's fine if you have a show that's loosely about Judaism, but really is about these people.
Yeah.
But then don't say that it's the show about Judaism.
I think unfortunately just what happens is that when you do that, some of the truth rings hollow because you're well, is that what we were talking off mic a little bit about the Joanne of it all.
Yes. Let's just talk about Joanne.
Again, I love Kristen Bell. I would lay down in traffic for Kristen Bell. This character is so interesting to me because, listen, as a woman of lived little bitch experience, I also relate, But at some point you're is she going to sacrifice anything? Because he's made great sacrifice for her, right?
He's trying.
he lost his dream career that he had worked towards for much of his life.
He did.
And that was okay. That was his choice. He has agency. But you, like, over time, I was just kind of like, are we going to go on, Joanne, give us anything, babe. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like a little concession.
I think the Joanne elements crystallized for me with this kind of central problem of this season where I'm like with you by and large. You can throw this show on, you're mostly going to have a good time no matter what you think of it.
Great jokes.
I would say it's not quite as good as season 1, mostly because the driving elements of their relationship aren't there. Like the show spends a lot of time on the supporting characters in a way that is good and they're funny and these are all actors we love, as you said. But I just it left me wanting for something from Noah and Joanne other than the same beat. And I cannot tell you how many episodes this season followed the exact same structure, which is Noah says something fairly innocuous. Joanne has a reach, makes an assumption about something he said, spins out, talks to Morgan about it. They workshop something together. Ultimately, they end up back on the couch, cuddling, talking their way through it. It's that is 3/4 of the episodes of this season.
Yeah, but also accurate. I mean, dating in Los Angeles is absolute trash fire. I get it, babe. I'm like, it's like you're trying to date and it's like, ugh, this guy is like an actor.
Yep.
This guy's a loser. That guy's a rabbi. This guy's a podcaster. It's okay when I do it. It's you're married, so you're off the table.
Yeah.
But so I understand the struggle.
But see, that's a show I would watch. Joanne dates around.
Right.
And everything feels a little different every episode with all of these people she's trying to find. That's interesting, but I think you get into that rom-com space with this season where there's a reason every rom-com movie ever made mostly ends with them getting together. And then the credits, maybe there's a little montage of their day-to-day life, but like Sex and the City ran into this problem, lots of shows ran into this problem. It's like once the main characters are in a relationship together, how do you make that story? How do you make that interesting? And the driving kind of tension of is Joanne going to convert is looming over the show, but the show never wants to talk about her actually converting.
Doesn't want to. I think, again, that was I don't mind that that's the tension. And I think, again, I read somewhere that originally the show was supposed to have her convert much sooner because obviously that's what the creator, Aaron Foster, did,
And the show is loosely based on her own experience converting.
But I think maybe Jenny Connor or someone was like, no, we can't get there too soon. Which I think it's a good tension.
Totally.
But to go back to it, I'm starting to get a picture of Noah's relationship with the importance of his faith and how he's kind of a Reform Jew. Yeah. But not that Reform.
No.
What does he say? He's like, the words are important, I mean, the scene at Temple Ahava with the children or the teenagers and how they're all like, well, we can skip Shabbat to see the new Marvel movie.
To see the Fantastic Four specifically, which I would recommend. You shouldn't have done that. If you did that, you should not have done it.
And he's just like, oh, I don't think you should do that. But what Joanne's relationship with Judaism is, and there are glances at it throughout the season. It's she loves kugel, and that's why it's served at the engagement party? Or I mean,
it doesn't end up as an engagement party. It is basically a breakup party for if you walked into that party with a date, you are leaving in shambles.
In total shambles, yeah. Or the poo. Yes. That she but these are, again, much like the conversation that she has with Esther at the end.
Right.
These are superficial parts of being Jewish as per the show.
Right.
Not maybe as per actual the Torah.
I think it's totally fine and interesting to talk about those kind of community aspects as an entry point. And it obviously is something that's enticing to a lot of people. It's a real part of the conversion picture. It just feels weird that Joanne is the main character of the show, and I know more about her mom's investment in the actual text than hers.
Yeah.
And so that's what I keep coming back to is I come out of season 2 liking, honestly, both Joanne and Noah less.
It's true. And you like everyone else more, right? I'm now so invested in Sasha and Esther's relationship.
Completely.
Which I was wondering, oh, is that going to be a bigger storyline in season 3 that is probably inevitable?
I mean, it's hard to be a bigger storyline than this. I think if you zoom out, it feels like Esther is kind of the main character of this entire season. So can she be even more spotlit, even more focused than she's already been? I do think that's one of the things the show did well. The big speech at the end, which basically culminates in "you feel Jewish to me, and therefore you should be Jewish." That was a bit of a miss for me. But Esther's overall story, like, the show has a lot of time and care for threading through these ideas that she is unhappy, that she doesn't feel stable in her own life, that she feels kind of alien to her own existence. And she's like, this isn't something that pops up in episode 6 and feels like a complete surprise. She is constantly saying it with her words and with her bangs that, like, this is a woman in crisis, basically. And so, like, that paying off was something I did not think the show had in it. Like, I thought this was going to be so focused on the central relationship, the side characters were always going to feel like that. And so they're all trade-offs with this stuff where I just love where we went with Esther ultimately.
I feel like I sound like I'm being really negative about this show, and I just want to say I really like it. I think maybe because I really like it, I wanted it to rise up a little bit more in certain parts. And like one thing where I was like, okay, and the Hollywood Reporter article, which you read and I read and you guys can read, which is a little bit like how the sausage is made a little too much, in my opinion. I'm like, I didn't have to tell them all that. But you're like, okay, Sasha in season 1 is kind of like my wife, old ball and chain, fuck her, you know? And like obsessed or like enamored at least with Justine Loop's character. And they have this like chemistry and whatever. And then come season 2, it's like that never happened. Except for like, obviously it's addressed in the first episode.
They lay it right out.
And then he's like Mr. Wife guy all of a sudden, obsessed with his wife. And you're like, wait, what happened?
A season 2 rewrite happened.
Right.
A course correction clearly happened. And I think some of it was they just didn't know exactly what they wanted out of the Sasha Morgan stuff. Yeah. And like, this is one of the tricks of TV as you're making it, where it's like, oh, these two actors really like are bouncing off each other in a way that is fun.
Right.
And this is one of the things they talked about in that article is like, how do we put these people in a room together after they've had all this weird tension? And so you're kind of incentivized if you're making TV to just lean into the tension and keep leaning and keep leaning and keep leaning. But then the swerve to wife guy doesn't really track at all.
I mean, it fits with the character because Tim Simons sells it so well.
It fits Tim Simons for sure.
He's great. But
yes.
It's just like, I was like kind of like, oh, what happened here? Also, this is like so small, but am I incorrect that they're in their 40s?
I believe all of these characters are supposed to be in their 40s.
Like early 40s. Like no one really ever brings up that like it might be hard to have children.
Not one conversation about it.
My best friend perimenopause.
In fairness, Kristen Bell is a timeless wonder. You know, so like maybe it's just like not an issue for her. You know, maybe she exists in a realm that is beyond human consideration.
Yeah, okay. I hear it. I hear that. Love that for her. It's really cool. I just like, you know, I was like, I would like to hear a little.
Again, just like none of that.
Yeah. Just maybe a few glances at
a passing mention.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are vague allusions to kind of like timing.
Timeline.
She does have she does have a comment about like, do you even like understand how old I am?
Yeah, that's true.
Which fair enough. Like again, that's the kind of thing that like I would like this show to dip into, but you can't make the pure comfort watch show and that show at the same time. Maybe it is too much to handle if we're getting into like actual real human concerns. And so the zone we end up in, I actually think there's things that this show has to say about dating. Again, I'm clearly an expert on the subject, are like very relatable human things. They're a bit obvious sometimes. Like the line that made me audibly groan from my couch is when, you know, Noah and Joanne are having a conversation about how he's like emotionally reacting to something. And he asks if he's a bad person. She says, no, you're just a person.
Yeah, that was a little heavy-handed.
Like, okay, yeah, this is the register we're operating in. But then everything else is so pleasant and wonderful in terms of the performances, and some of the dialogue does zip and bounce, and these actors do know how to play off each other just so. I'm just like constantly pushed and pulled between some of the writing choices I don't love and some of the performance choices that are like, again, undeniable with these people.
God, they're carrying it on their back, babe.
It feels like that.
Where can I find this kind of boyfriend who like is like, oh my God, you hung the moon, babe. You are perfect in every way. Do you give me literally anything? The answer is no. Did I lose my career because of you? Yes. Have you shown me in any way that you are considering perhaps how I might feel about things?
Yes.
Not really. I mean, again, I think they are trying. There's like these like there was a subtle thing of like what she brings to the table is freeing him of being so pent up, maybe. Like that's the whole tree touching thing and let it out and be mad about Big Noah. Big Noah, great moment. Honestly.
The Big Noah plot line, I think, is one of the great touches of this season.
But I'm just like, babe, what are we doing here?
I will say this in Joanne's defense. The whole, like, let me recreate the exact same Valentine's Day with you that I've done with all of my previous girlfriends is not a great look.
Yeah, that was great to make him a little bit less perfect. You know? It. Yeah, because he was floating off into outer space of perfect hot rabbi boyfriend.
I think that's the Adam Brody zone, right? Like, he's so easily, effortlessly, like, endearing. And Kristen Bell, I think, has done a great job over her career, like playing against type, basically, as like annoying or like kind of a floundering mess in some aspect of her life. Like she did this on The Good Place as well. I think she does it really well here. It's like very effective in what it is. Do I always like what that character is? Do I always like the space that they're operating in the show? Like, I think that's where it gets tricky for me. But the season still does have a lot that works. I think Ariane Moayed as Dr. Andy, a human red flag, but a great character.
That entire storyline is just so good. It's as someone who deeply is preoccupied with whether or not I'm my therapist's favorite, I did feel really grateful that my therapist is a straight woman, so this was not going to be an issue. But I was like, kind of like, low key, like if my therapist was like, I want to marry you, I'd kind of be like, okay.
Do you think you are your therapist's favorite?
I have to believe it.
Yeah.
Because I go in there and do at least like a type 5 of stand-up whenever I go in, just burning my money to, get her chuckling when she's like...
she appreciates it though.
I think at some points she's like, okay, I get it. Life is a highway. You said that. We don't know what that means. Let's move on to what you're feeling. Let's get into your interiority.
Well, what else worked for you with this season? Were there any other small things, big things? What stuck out to you?
Oh, I mean, the entire Abby Loves Smoothies episode is just exquisite, gorgeous. They do, Leighton Meester is incredible.
Super funny,
lights up the screen. It's a great, I mean, we haven't mentioned it, but like this is such an LA show.
Yes.
Right? Like,
and I have to say, at a very LA time in my life,
right,
like I just moved here. So it is great research for me in like, where is that dog park kind of way.
Right. Well, if you're from here, they do hit you over the head a little bit with the B-roll of like, but
I want to talk about that.
We get it. There's the drawing room. But having a childhood friend who is now a very successful influencer with children is like very relatable. We've all, who amongst us?
Have you ever stopped to consider that in some ways you are that influencer?
When they go to her bathroom and there's like a 10-minute lingering, what it felt like a 10-minute lingering shot on the Estee Lauder serum, I was like, you guys could have just written this in and had Abby do the like that would have been really funny and actually work.
Let's Truman Show this shit.
Right? You know, but that I was like, oh, okay, Estee Lauder.
I mean, without exception, the most egregious product placement I've ever seen. You're talking about a moment when they're at Abby's house. We're on FaceTime. We set the phone on the counter next to the serum is taking up half the screen, like half of the frame. Was the B-roll of Echo Park that expensive? Was Tim Simon's Shacket budget that expensive?
As someone who has an MBA and understands capitalism very well, okay, we all have to pay the piper, babe, but you could have made it funny. I don't know if maybe Estee Lauder wouldn't allow that, but it's like have her put it in all the gift bags, like, okay, did everyone get their Estee Lauder serum, babes? Okay, hold it up. Let's take photos. I think that could have both served the purpose of the product placement and been really easy to swallow with like a airplane.
Completely. Let's nod at what we're doing here versus thank you for coming to the pasta making experience brought to you by Airbnb. Like, I was just aghast, honestly. Like it's just so egregious. It jumps out. Plus, like Kristen Bell being like, "Yeah, I want to sit in bed and watch the Netflix show Love Is Blind, or maybe Squid Game, or maybe Stranger Things." It's just like, is this really who we are? Is this really what we're doing?
Every one of these actors is perfect, and I love them, and I want to be their best friend, and I'll watch them do anything. And also, my hat is off to the writers. The jokes are so razor sharp and
They
good.
are.
Like, I can't stop thinking about the part where Joanne gets evicted for vomiting in the pool and not telling her landlord. She is truly a prize. And she's telling Morgan, and she's like, well, now I'm homeless. And Morgan goes, Dr. Andy said the word is unhoused.
This has also got me.
It's so good.
I mean, Justine Loop is batting 1,000 in this show. It is every line delivery. It is every joke. And you're right. Like, all of the throwaway gags on the periphery of the show are really sharp.
Yeah.
It does have that junk food feel. And like, my concern is less the feeling of, oh, hours later, as you're saying, I'm going to feel like I ate junk food. It's a little more in the moment. You have that zoom out realization of like, I am just cramming junk food on the couch. And nothing about this show makes me feel more that way than, weirdly, the interstitial LA shots. Like, it is possible in theory, and I know this because season 1 did it, where you can transition to one scene for another without 1, 2, 3 random shots from not just like where we are in LA, but all around LA.
It's definitely not where they were.
Almost never where they are. So it's not like locating you in a place. And also like a different pop music needle drop every single time.
There was a lot of pop music needle drops. Big budget.
Huge. Now we know where that Estee Lauder money went.
Like, they paid for Apple by Charlie XCX.
This is the thing. You got Charlie, you got Chapel, you got Taylor, you got Selena Gomez, you got Ariana, you got Renee Rapp, and you got Sabrina. It's like, you don't need all of this all the time. And I did feel like the show was kind of a little smothered in that way. Like, I just want to go from human interaction to human interaction without getting a 15-second sting of a pop song every single time.
Weirdly though, like, when I zoom out, I'm like, oh, it kind of works because, like, to me, it's like so giving adult child woman, you know, like, who's like, what is even your job? And I say this as like,
but we know her job.
You are a podcaster who seemingly podcasts once a month.
Yep, if that.
Without the mic placement, babe. Stressing me out so bad. I just know that audio quality is crazy.
It's horrendous.
It sounds crazy.
The episode where Noah comes over to like give his 2 cents, like, you're not getting a word of any of that from either of them.
Rob, would you want your wife to come podcast with you?
In this fashion, it feels a little intrusive. Like, I am Team Noah in this respect. Like, I'm not out here trying to have a full-on relationship podcast on Front Street.
Sure.
It's not how I choose to live my life.
Yeah, especially when you're the spiritual leader of a community, or trying to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can see how the conflicts might arise there, and yet, like, people are giving him shit constantly throughout the show. You know what? It said in the text of the show, and I agree with it, boys do love their privacy. I do enjoy a little bit here and there.
I think what it is that we like this show so much that we want more from it.
I wouldn't say I love it so much. I like it. And it's a perfect, like, throw this on, I'm happy I spent time with it kind of show. I don't have like the highest, loftiest aspirations of this as art. I just enjoy it as an experience, and I enjoy spending time with all these people.
I just like live in such a desert of shows that deal with faith. I really am deeply interested in it, and maybe that's not what this is about. You know, maybe this is not about that. But you made the guy a rabbi.
You did.
So like,
and this is one of the areas where you deviate from your own lived experience in inspiring the show, going from like, you know, a husband who is an Orthodox Jew into a full-on rabbi. Like, that's a deliberate decision to deal with this more confrontationally in terms of his faith and job. And like, that does juice the plot, because then you get moments like him sacrificing elements of his career to be with Joanne. But then you're just not going to deal with a lot of the actual like religious fallout of anything that is happening.
Yeah. I want to know more. I want to know more about not just his relationship to the dogma of the religion, but his relationship to God and to why this is important to him. Because ultimately, rom-com or not, I mean, rom part is he's going to want a partner who, I would think, who, if that's very important to him, that takes it seriously in the way he does.
Yes.
Or at least doesn't think it's just like a joke about challah, you know, like, which I was like, babe, you live in LA and you've never met a Jewish person? You've never had challah bread?
We also ran the challah joke back twice.
And your childhood best friend was named Abby Kaplan. This is Los Angeles. There's no way you've never encountered challah bread.
I have many questions about almost all of these characters' lived experiences.
Me too.
I mean, to rom-com custom, like, how do you afford this beautiful house? Like,
you got the rent prices in Los Angeles are egregious.
Look, I've been on that market. I'm not finding a kitchen like the one Noah has, you know? Like
I didn't know rabbis were paid that well. Should I become a rabbi? I don't know. We're not allowed. Or no, we can be allowed.
Why not?
I don't know. I'm sorry. Again, I'm a very like not real Jew. Can women be rabbis? Yes.
Kate Berlant is a rabbi in this show. Good you call. Absolutely can. Wow. You could be the Kate Berlant you want to see in the world.
My listening comprehension was clearly lacking.
Well, I wouldn't say that character is given like a ton to do other than make funny jokes, which she absolutely does.
Just facial expressions. She's such a queen. Okay, I can suspend my disbelief for real estate porn, much like our dear friend Amanda Dobbins.
That's a part of the show. Yeah.
Love to see it.
I'm into it. The one thing that took me out of it, I don't know whether I want to become so rich and powerful that I can have a sauna I only use for storage, or whether the idea of that deeply offends me.
Yeah, what do her parents do?
What does anyone on the
breed trauma that she doesn't seem to again, they did like a little
they do.
Like, and I'm like, okay,
it's a glancing blow.
I'm like, yes, like I need to know why she's like this.
So you want like In Session with Dr. Andy. Like let's work it out. Let's lay it all out.
Interiority from that character, because without the interiority, she's starting to be very annoying.
Yeah.
Like, and not just annoying, like you kind of don't like her.
I think this is
it's okay if she's unlikable.
Yes.
But give it some depth.
Completely. Like your show can have unlikable leads. It can have unlikable characters, but it requires some interrogation.
And they do it for Morgan really well, actually. They do exactly kind of what I wish they would do for Joanne for Morgan. She has that amazing conversation with Bina. After, like that storyline was perfect from start to finish. They set her up with the guy at the dinner party. He doesn't like her. She challenges him as to why. He gives her straight real talk. She internalizes it. That conversation with Bina was incredible, where she says, like, you must think it's true because you don't care what other people think.
Yes.
And they have this bond. Also, let me ask a question about
please
Bina and Noah's dad. The Eastern European accent, where are they from? Have we ever mentioned it?
I don't think we've established it.
Is it just meant to signal Jewishness?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And look, this was one of the big criticisms coming out of season 1 was that Bina and Esther specifically were just like absolute cartoonish caricatures. People had their criticisms of that, of the way the characters were deployed. I would say that you can even see it in season 2 in the way that like the show doesn't know what to do with Bina when she is not Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And so she just kind of like falls out of the show.
And she's such an incredible actress.
Incredible actress. I don't know why they're styling her like she's Dracula sometimes. Like
no, but she looks so chic.
I'm not saying she's not pulling it off. I'm just
gonna say somehow that's also my mother. Like my mom's not Jewish, but she is Bina.
Spiritually, she is still Bina. And in season 2, again, that's not a bad thing. Like those conversations, I think, are useful and valuable. And ultimately, the side characters and the supporting characters are pretty well served by this season. It felt like, though, that everyone involved in making the show was like, okay, we got there with Noah and Joanne. We get that relationship. We get their inner lives. Let's focus on everything else. And in doing so, you're just spinning the wheels with Joanne. You're just, not only is she being a little annoying in the ways you described, but she's hitting that same button over and over again, where if you're going to slow down the fallout of all the rom-com elements of the show, it's a real concern. Like, how do you make these characters feel like they are dynamic and growing when they don't have that interiority, when you're not letting them progress forward on the big picture stuff of, you know, conversion or engagement or whatever you think the future of their relationship is? It just kind of felt like Joanne is stalled out in place all season.
Totally. And I don't need her to be like a girl boss, like you go girl or anything, but like I would love it if she wanted something other than to move in with her hot boyfriend.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like, no clue. Again, the sporadic podcast isn't really prominently featured, not a lot of ambition there. Like, what do you want?
Unclear.
You know?
And what does she know of what Noah wants other than...
Sounds like they've never had a conversation about it.
It kind of does. Like, again, you get all that interrogation of Morgan as far as like, you've had this one-sided relationship with your therapist where he knows all the intimate details about you, but you don't actually know a lot about this guy. I don't know that Joanne knows a lot about Noah either. Like, when it comes down to it, she's like, I'm going to ask his buddies what movie poster I should get him.
Right.
And like, that's a flex within the world of the show that like, oh, I found out this personal thing about you. But I would not say she's a woman who asks a lot of questions either.
Yeah. Can I give a shout out to the nightstand?
Absolutely.
That was an incredible moment. Like, they were really so right about the thoughtfulness behind noticing a need and just filling it because you wanted to care for someone. That was very beautiful.
How did you feel about the primordial nightstand of just like I don't even know what the base of it was, but the tower of stuff that she has constructed for herself.
It stressed me out.
It really did.
But again, I mean, I've dated guys who like own one towel, so it's like this is the bar is in hell, you know?
It unfortunately can't be. But like, again, those little relationship things, some of the actual human moments of the show really, really hit. Like it's so clear that the emotional soul of the show comes from a place that's very real. And yet there's all this like roller coaster artifice around it that is driving it somewhere, but like I don't always know where or why. Now
that like we've partially resolved, I think, the tension of is she going to convert or not, because now she knows she's warm and cozy and likes to gossip, so she's Jewish.
Yeah. Well, let me stop you. Let me stop you even right there.
Okay.
Because it's clear in the season 2 finale, which I would say is like a pretty close mirror of the season 1 finale, right? You get them running after each other. This time it's kind of flipped. It's a little more Joanne coming after Noah versus vice versa. Some of the parts of that, by the way, really did work for me. Like the 2 elevators with like going in opposite directions. There's just stuff that absolutely clicks.
That shot being in front of the beautiful place by LACMA with the...
Completely.
I don't know who the artist is. Sorry, I'm stupid. But the Joanne coded. No curiosity. But that was gorgeous.
Some like that specificity and the visual look and elements like that, I think really, really work. But ultimately, when you think about season 1 and like Noah's making this big sacrifice, and then you come into season 2 and they walked it back like immediately. It was like, oh, we've never had a conversation. We're not on the same page at all about the conversion conversation. Noah made this big gesture at the end of season 1 about how he's like giving up his career for her, but then came into season 2 expecting to still have his career and her, which just makes me feel like as we go from season 2 into season 3, it's like, would they just also walk this back? Like, I have a hard time knowing what to believe with any of these characters.
Right. Because she also doesn't speak. He speaks. She never says to him what she decided. You know, she just does that sort of cryptic coy, well, I have news for you. I don't remember what she said or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't like to be the Jewish police at all, but isn't it sort of like a thing in Judaism that you're not supposed to proselytize or like push or ask anyone to become Jewish?
Well, if you're a rabbi, I think there's maybe some exception to that.
No, it's the opposite. You're supposed to. Didn't you watch Sex and the City, honey? Don't you remember?
I might have missed that arc.
Charlotte York, where she had to go beg the rabbi. You have to ask the rabbi 3 times. They have to deny you 3 times.
You know what? Maybe he's not that orthodox in his ways.
Yeah.
Clearly there is a gray area here in terms of the form of Judaism that this show would like to participate in.
Maybe the conceit of season 3 will be what we've been talking about, which is getting down to the brass tacks of what faith means to each of them and trying to bridge the abyss that's probably between him and her in terms of how they're going to engage with faith and God.
Yeah.
Probably not God, because no one says God because it's an extremely bad word. Which to me would be interesting.
It would definitely be interesting. And in the show's defense, maybe that is part of the consideration set for season 2 and season 3. You know, if season 2 is going to be about them kind of finding their places in this and Joanne figuring out if she wants to convert, if we take her kind of at where she is in this finale, season 3 is going to be about part of that journey. It's going to be about diving into her version of this faith and what that looks like. And maybe in doing so, we learn more about where all these other characters are with theirs.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
What else? Is there anything else you would want to see in a season 3? I mean, it seems like, you know, an episode of Joanne in therapy would be helpful for all of us. It seems like, you know, Noah just, you know, really out on his own, maybe at Burning Man or something, like really coming to terms with everything he is and believes. I would love to see. Are there any other arcs, any other characters, any other kind of situations you want to see come more to the fore in season 3?
Well, I'm definitely interested in what happens with Esther.
Definitely.
Because she's on a journey for sure. And obviously that leaves Sasha adrift as well, and Morgan single. So
and Sasha and Esther's child, who is, I guess, alive, but certainly not in this show,
has gone to an extended summer camp. Also, shout out to the PowerPoint presentation that Sasha makes with that like AI generated like Renesmee ass baby that was like so terrifying. That was very funny.
He boiled the ocean for that.
Yeah, that was quite amusing.
That was very good.
Those were interesting things to bring up about a marriage and the idea that one person might want to have another child, one person doesn't, one person no longer feels. I think I saw some fan person be like, I think Esther and Rebecca should become lesbians and go find themselves together. And I was like, wow, that would be a departure, but
It would be a departure.
Anything could happen.
Anything could happen. After seeing those characters like have dinner together, I'm not sure that they have couple energy.
It wasn't giving me couple energy.
It was not. I enjoyed those scenes. Honestly, it was really glad Rebecca still kind of popped up a couple of times this season. And I think, again, the episode of Noah sort of kind of coming to terms with the boyfriend he has been and like the image of the boyfriend he was trying to embody, that was actually pretty good stuff for this show.
The necklace.
I mean, the necklace is very bad. I would love some of that for Sasha as well. And I think you're right that like he does have this transformation into wife guy, and we get some hints of everything that he's dealing with. I thought is it therapist Lori, the like couples therapist that Morgan and Dr. Andy go to?
Incredible.
Speaking of capitalists, I mean, just really putting
her Cards
it out there.
Against Humanity therapy game.
Creating the cards, selling the rights. She is ahead of every step of it. That sequence of like them all answering the questions and kind of everything coming to the fore, I thought was really good. Part of that being Sasha presenting himself as like, oh, I'm just the guy you all come to me with your problems. But I would love to know more about him. And like we've seen him come to Morgan with his problems here and there. But ultimately, season 3, I would think would have to position him in an isolated spot, right? He still has his brother. He still has his family. Like he's not totally adrift.
He has jujitsu.
He has jujitsu, which we've learned, again, in this moment, to no one else's knowledge is very important to him. But like, let's get him in class. I want to see what moves he really has in jujitsu.
Totally. Yeah, I'd really like to see him find his anchor.
Yes.
Like it does feel he's like a bit adrift and he's sort of prioritizing everybody else and he's not able to like, have some Sasha time.
Mm. I have a question to you as, from Angelino to Angelino now.
Sure, now that you're here.
Rachel Sennett's new show, I Love LA, is right around the corner.
Okay.
Every bit of marketing for that show makes it feel to me like, a younger, maybe even potentially messier analog to this one, right? Another show about modern dating, a younger set. There's also like such a funny thing happening with Josh Hutcherson is the male lead in that show.
Is that more of like that generation
Totally.
Seth Cohen? Okay, because obviously I'm old. So
it feels that exact way. Like Rachel Sennett in interviews about it has even said like, oh, this is the guy who you feel like has been your boyfriend for years.
Right.
Do you think a show like that, if it is a slightly different demo, can it come for the messy LA dating relationship show crown? Like, do you think are those the same market or are they different markets?
That's really interesting. I mean, I wonder because I'm going to tell you a little story.
I would love it.
This is going to demean all my credibility right now. I've never seen Girls.
Okay.
Which actually I have a big plan this autumn and winter to finally go through the entire thing.
We should say we did not acknowledge that the season 2 showrunners, Jenny Connor and Bruce Eric Kaplan, both Girls alum.
Both Girls alum.
Yeah.
Girls obviously famously known to be an incredible work of art. Mm-hmm. Again, I haven't seen it, but I believe it. I haven't seen it because when I first tried to watch it in real time, I was just like, had just narrowly escaped with, a bit of my life from having moved to New York in my 20s to be the voice of my generation with some monetary help from my parents.
I would say for the record, you accomplished the voice of your generation bit.
Well, it took 20 years, but engaging in terrible situationships, shopping at Beacon's Closet, wearing terrible clothing. Like, I was just hit way too close to home. It was like triggering. Like, I was like PTSD. So I couldn't watch it, which is a little bit probably how I'll feel about I Love LA. Not because it's not going to be a good show, but because I'm like, oh no, I did that. So maybe all that to say, maybe the demo is a bit younger.
Yeah. But I think there is a sweet spot with Nobody Wants This where it does have some of those very relatable hallmarks you're talking about with shows like Girls, where there's something very recognizable, but you can still sit on your couch and say, oh, like Joanne's sure is acting crazy today. Like there is a little bit of a distance between whatever you think your lived experience is and whatever is happening on screen. I think that's part of the comfort watch formula in lots of ways.
Also, thanks to Botox, TM, age is almost not a consideration anymore because with your eyes, you'll watch these shows and everyone kind of looks the same age.
They do. What I have learned from just, being a person on the internet, though, is that no matter how much Botox you get, the hands don't lie and the neck doesn't lie. This is what I've been told.
Oh, babe, you haven't heard about neck lifts then.
Apparently not. There's a lot for me to learn.
You haven't taken a trip to Korea.
Again, I'm just beginning to dabble into this world and understand it.
Welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you. I do have some final show-inspired prompts for you.
Okay, great. Love a prompt.
We're presented the binary by Joanne and Morgan. are you a DoorDash person or a farmer's market person? They identify as DoorDash people, right? They're just not out there picking fresh produce. Totally tracks for them.
Yeah.
Which would you identify as?
I'm sadly a farmer's market person.
Really?
Oh yeah. I go every Sunday. I'm deeply concerned with the micronutrients that are available in my food.
Tell me about it.
Well, you know that the soil is compromised.
I'm sorry, I don't know that the soil is compromised. What happened to the soil?
The soil was inundated with Roundup and glyphosates, and has been over time depleted of nutrients, which therefore are not in your food. So you need to go to these small farms that take better care of their soil and give you real healthy food.
This is news to me.
Yeah.
Thank you for saving my life.
Also, if you ever go to farmer's market and buy produce and then try to eat the same produce from I'm not going to name a grocery store. I don't want to malign anyone, but let's just say a standard grocery store.
Sure.
You'll be like, that's so interesting how that tomato is cardboard. And this one tastes like what a tomato is.
The fruit especially. Yeah. I mean, it can be a truly diabolical difference between them.
Are you a DoorDash person or a farmer's market person?
Well, as someone who's recovering from pneumonia, I've been living as a DoorDash person. Just by sheer necessity.
That doesn't count.
But I'm this is why I ask you about the binary, because I find myself to be kind of neither. I have not made the full farmer's market plunge. I'll dabble, but I do have those moments where I'm like...
Joe's guy?
More of like a Sprouts.
Okay, sure. Sprouts is wonderful.
You know, like I want fresh produce, but I don't know that I want farmers market pricing and inconvenience. You know, like I'm a man about town. I'm out here trying to churn out some podcasts.
Okay, so Sunday mornings you're busy podcasting.
Well, not even that. Just like I want to be able to shop at 3:00 on a Wednesday.
Got it.
You know, and
so it's a convenience issue.
When the farmers market opens up at my convenience, I will be a frequent customer. And maybe the issue is like I just need to hit you for the right recommendations. I did love some of the setups of this season. Just like. Again, the engagement party at the end, the Valentine's Day situation, the opening dinner party, I thought was a real stroke of genius as far as like the exact kind of supposedly low stakes thing that could drive a couple to insanity.
The lighting.
If you were to host a dinner party, would you try to matchmake your single friends by sitting them next to each other?
Yeah. I wish someone would do that for me.
Yeah.
Are you guys listening?
I mean,
dinner party? Invite me over. I'm the single friend. Bring me to your house.
So you would like to be match made?
Yeah. I think that's actually a wonderful thing to do. And it's very human. And like they say it on the show, nobody's going back on those apps, babe. You couldn't take me to Guantanamo and get me to go back on those apps. It's not happening.
See, my concern... And I've seen this in friends of mine who are in couples as well, is it's the coupled person's version of being on the apps is like, I don't get to participate in this date. So let me just like mash these two people together and see if it works.
What's the worst that happens?
There's an incredible awkward tension that stews that then devours the respective friendships and maybe ruins whatever relationship you're in.
Okay, I didn't think about that.
I just think there's a lot of potential fallout. Okay. But I'm also someone who's much more concerned with the dinner party of that formula, I think, than the matchmaking part of that formula.
Got it. You don't want it to ruin the vibes.
I'm not trying. It's very carefully curated. I am Joanne on the light dial, like 30%, 50%, 70%. Like what is the exact...
Preparing your Sprouts-based meals.
This is what I'm all about.
Yeah.
This is how I live my life. Are there any other closing thoughts, positive or negative, you have about this show? Feelings, extrapolations, love letters to Adam Brody, whatever you would like to do.
I love Adam Brody. I think I just had a broader thought where I'm like, okay, maybe this is like galaxy brain, you know, that they were like, the honeymoon phase is over. And that is when people's relationship is a little bit less hot and heavy and interesting. So perhaps they were through art trying to telegraph that.
I think that's true.
I'm stretching.
No,
and then when it gets interesting is when it hits the inflection point where you have to either like shit or get off the pot. And then it's like, what's the real world tagline? When people
stop being polite, start getting real.
Being polite and start getting real. It's the real world, babe. So
I do think you're onto something. And we're in that, nebulous zone in between where neither of those things are quite happening in a way that the show clearly wants to talk about post-honeymoon period. It is like they're talking about it constantly. Yeah. And in particular, Morgan is like chiding her sister about this all the time.
Yeah. Because that's what it's about, right? It's going to boil down to like, who are you?
Yes.
What are your beliefs? What are your morals, Joanne? Like, what is the infrastructure of your psyche? Like, let's get into it.
I hope we can find that out in season 3. I hope this show, in addition to all of the comforts that it brings us, cares to dive into some of that stuff, I guess we'll find out kind of what sort of show they want to make. We've been served what they think we want based on what we said we want based on season 1, which is, hot rabbi, et cetera, the big kiss scene, I can handle you, all of that. We're living in a world beyond that world, and I have hopes for season 3, but like I can't pretend I'm not a little bit let down.
I believe in them to turn it around season 3.
I also believe in them in part. Like this cast, we've said it over and over again.
It's just phenomenal.
You put these people in a room, good things are generally going to happen. You put them across LA in various spots. Like, why not? Why can't this work?
Maybe the huge, big thing of season 3 is they're going to go west of the 405.
You think that's even a possibility?
I don't know.
Tune into season 3 to find out. Potentially next fall. Yasi, thanks so much for doing this. Thank you for being here.
It was such an honor.
It was an honor for me. You can hear Yasi all the time on Bandsplain. I would highly encourage you to do so. Thank you to Kai Grady. Thank you, as always, to Justin Sayles. I will be back with Joanna next week to talk about the double premiere of Pluribus. So come on back. We'll see you then.